we're still at the show, and I'm on the ropes with Brian Hill. Look at what he's got to show us. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good, Jim.
Good to meet you finally, sir.
Absolutely.
Look, I found this to be extremely interesting because it's a real departure from what we normally see as contemporary drums at the show. Look at these drums behind me. Now, you'd probably think, look at all those Civil War drums. That's what I thought. I see a bunch of rope tension drums. I'm thinking Civil War, but that's not quite true, is it, Brian?
No, Jim, these aren't necessarily Civil War drums. A lot of these are much, much older, although a couple of them do have ties to the Civil War. But over here we're dealing with 1802s, 1811s, 1824s, and just that type of vintage.
I see. How did you come by these to get such perfect examples of these drums?
Well, they weren't always perfect. I kind of helped them out a little bit.
So that you work on them, I see. Terrific, because I know it's not easy to do to find these tugs. I mean, are these original? Are these?
No, some of these are actually reproduction.
I see.
Where you go down to a drum like this or over behind you. Those are vintage Civil War era ropes and
Now, would you describe this tack pattern, what that means?
Well, the tack pattern on the old drums was basically the signature of the maker. Each maker had his own tack. This is a particular variation of the famous Brown family tack pattern. This was made by William Brown. William was one of the only Brown people who actually professed to be a full-time drum maker. The bad news is William died about 23, 24 years old, 1 year after he made this drum, making his drums extremely rare as far as Browns go. His famous brother, Eli, is what we normally know of.
Yes, I've heard of Eli Brown, yeah. Okay. Just a ballpark question. Any one of these drums, what could someone expect if they wanted to buy one of these?
These are all 4-digit drums.
There you go. We're talking big, valuable drums. Now, there's something else I wanted to talk to you about, and this is very interesting. I want to tell you folks that I live in Florida, right? Hurricane Charlie hit Florida years ago, and I met a guy named Jim Smith. He was down there working with FEMA. He's a vintage drum collector, and he's into Civil War drums. I believe he co-wrote a book. But anyways, we met up, and we had a very great time. Turns out we have some camaraderie going on here because Brian knows Jim Smith, and we want to let you folks know what's going on with Jim Smith. Brian, would you care to tell this story about this drummer and this particular drum and how it got into Jim Smith's hands and what exactly he's doing? Now, this is about a trek, a journey that Jim Smith, the guy that I met, is going to recreate with this drum that was owned by a drummer boy who was in the Civil War, right, at Gettysburg.
Absolutely.
And he's going to recreate the trek. You want to tell us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Smith is one of the godfathers of this genre. He's been doing this for years. He is a magnificent drummer, collector, builder, restorator. He's also a historian. And what he has here is the drum of Peter Guibert, who was with the 74th Pennsylvania. Fought at the Gettysburg Battle. They are from the Pittsburgh area. And on the 50th anniversary in 1913, Peter Guibert was 70 years old and wanted to go to the reenactment at Gettysburg for the 50th and walk the 200 miles from Pittsburgh to Gettysburg through the Appalachian Mountains with his drum playing the entire way. He was 70 years old at the time. Jim Smith has Peter Guibert's drum, and he is also 70 years old and will be recreating the walk that Peter Guibert did through the Allegheny Mountains and the Appalachians 150 years to the day of the battle. All the proceeds from the sticks that Jim's selling are going to go to a Civil War musician's monument, which does not exist in the United States. These sticks, which are souvenir sticks, are made of witness trees, which means that they were growing on the battlefield during the battle. So all proceeds will go to that monument. You can get...
How do you purchase these?
You can get these by contacting Jim Smith at yankeedrummer1@gmail.com.
Actually, these feel really good.
Each of these sticks will be serialized. 150 of them will be used during the trek, and he will document where they were used. And basically, it's a good cause. We should all own a pair.
When does the trek start?
The trek starts the middle of May and will end the middle of June.
Now, you're going to be involved in this?
Absolutely. I'm going to meet Jim in Cashtown, Pennsylvania, and march with him with a drum, a period drum, all the way to Gettysburg. I'm going to document the walk for Not So Modern Drummer magazine, tell the whole story and my experience walking with Jim.
We're waiting to hear all about that. Jim Smith, I hope you make it, boy. We're all rooting for you.
Wear good shoes, Jim.
Brian Hill, Jim Smith, watch for that trek. It's going to be big history. We'll see you again.